I'm Greg Tatum, and I'm going to show off the first session for this 2D session series that I'm doing and explain a little bit how it works. So on the left, you can see here the session. On the right is the code. And the pattern I've followed is I start out with a config where I have kind of all the static values of things that are going to be used by the visualization. And then I have a second area with the current mutable state. And here you can see I generate the lines that I'm going to be drawing. And then finally, I loop everything, set the current time, and I run the draw function, and I pass in the config and current. And so I'll use this pattern a lot of passing in the config and current to my different functions. So to start out, let's look at how I generate the lines. I'm going to pop down to generate lines, pass in the config, and immediately I'll destructure the different options that I have here on how I put everything together. And the biggest one I have is line spacing. So I'll go back up to my config and change this value a little bit. And you can see what it looks like whenever I change it. And so this shows how much how much space will be between each line. So I'll configure that to how I think it looks nice. And then I take the context, get the width and height, and then for the lines, I'll go through and then do a simple loop and push on lines where I place them, the X and Y values. I'll set kind of a random initial theta based off the simplex noise, set the radius of it, which is half of the spacing, and offset the time that it loops through everything. Yeah, so that's fairly simple. And then on the draw, I'll again take the config and the current. I'll destructure out the different values I'm interested in. You can see now I have an arm line width, circle line width, and I'll clear out the background. And one trick I'm using here is this 05 at the end is the opacity. So I'll take that off. And you can see instead of kind of painting on top of itself, it completely clears. But I kind of like the way that the strokes would, as the arms moved, it would leave a trail behind. So I did that. And then the lines I'm drawing are, again, have a little bit of opacity, so they kind of overlay each other, which is a nice effect. And finally, I'll draw the circles. And so here I'll begin the path first, lay out all the circles by looping through all the lines, moving them, and then creating an arc, and then stroke it at the end. So you have to be careful of the Canvas API to create your paths first, configure them, and then only perform one of the operations. Otherwise, it'll be slower. Now, arc is probably the slowest of these commands that I have here. So if I comment out all these lines, I'm guessing the visualization would run like a lot faster, but aesthetically, actually, I kind of like this. Yeah, I might have changed it back to this if I'd, oh well. We'll keep it how it is. I'm not going back to change it. So going on, we find out the lines that go. And so I set up what the line will look like, and then loop through each of them, take my line, destructure out all the stuff I'm interested in from it. And kind of the most interesting thing here is I ease the timing. And so the magic for rotation is the cosine sine operations that happen on the time, and I multiply it by the radius of the thing. So here you can see if I took this radius and did times 0.3, you see it'll be a much smaller line. If I do times 2, it'll shoot past it. And then the easing, I'm using elastic out, which kind of gives it goes towards the thing and does one of these maneuvers. So I was trying to find some kind of easing that looked nice for this type of rotation. And that one seemed pretty nice. Trying to think if there's anything else interesting to show with all that. Oh yeah, finally, so one thing I'm doing here is I have this random function, which is just kind of my own package I've written and published, which is a pseudo random number generator. So I'll set that up with a seed, and the seed, oh, I disappeared, but forget how I save it. Oh yeah, I guess if I hit the U magic shortcut, the seed, I'll actually save the seed up in the URL, and that way uh, I can repeat the thing every time that I look at it. So if I find a specific visualization that I find interesting, I could actually save that seed. But whenever every time you load, it loads a new one. So I'll take that seed, generate a random number from it, and create a simplex noise, which is kind of a smoother type of noise. And then, yeah, just do some magic there to set it all up. Yeah, I think that's probably most of the interesting stuff there. Thanks for taking time to watch this video.